enjoying this evening. This is our November 17th meeting, and we will be starting our agenda this evening. Is that we want to do an update with the committee assignments, so we'll ask everybody to give us a little report on that. This is not pressing at this point. I want you to take your time and do what it is you're doing, but at the same time, we still need to get these things done. And then after that, we'll talk about the standard operating procedure for the subcommittees. And you'll be pleased to know Delegate Turner will be talking about the extension of the 3-mile radius. I don't know if you saw that Ryan has been working on that. I also want to talk about term limits in the LDC operating procedure. I sent that out to you earlier today. I had some, not problems, but I wasn't able to get in touch with Nicole, so I sent it out myself. But we'll go ahead and get started with the update on the committee assignments. And we'll just let everybody kind of turn everybody loose on that. Kimberly, we'll start with you. And then if Takesha, if you will stand in for Dr. Lattimore, we'll go from there. And then of course, Rashida, Kevin, and Senator Patterson is not here tonight. So we will ask Ms. Turner to kind of stand in from him. So we can go ahead and get started.
Okay, so good evening again, everyone. I chair the grant selection committee, and this past year, the committee was made up of myself, Takesha Walker, and Dr. Toy Lattimore. And we, the way that the committee is structured, we have a pretty, I think, kind of straightforward process as it relates to grant application reviews and kind of the cycle that we follow. So we work hand in hand with Ryan and his team just around timelines and that sort of thing. The county communicates, so we kind of work backwards. The county communicates, it's usually a June timeframe when they want to make an award. And we sort of work backwards based on how long it'll take to review applications, et cetera. So we have a process where we independently review, score, and assess the applicant based on some pretty structured criteria. And that criteria is something that's also developed along with Ryan and that office in terms of what sections of the application are scored, what points you should get, for completing the application, answering all of the requested information, et cetera. We look for things like, are you in the 3-mile radius? Not just the applicant, but actually who you're serving. You have to actually be serving the community or recipients that are going to be benefiting from this program have to be in the 3-mile radius. We have instances where, nonprofits could be, some have been out of the state, some have been certainly out of the 3-mile radius, but as long as the recipients are here, we look for that. Are your objectives clear? How you're going to use the money, is that clear? Like there's a whole set of parameters that we follow. Then we come back together as a team and then sort of vet how we scored and kind of come up with final rankings. And then we present that back to you all, this body, just around our recommendations. A couple of things just quickly to highlight. Going forward, I am going to be working with Takesha and Toy in their role on the oversight committee, just to ensure or probably put some new processes in place that aren't there now on the selection side. So looking forward to working with them to do that. And then what else? We just want to be better stewards of, the county, this process, awarding recipients that we should be awarding to, that are benefiting the county, that are good stewards of the dollars, money, programming, and that sort of thing. So that was probably a lot, but hopefully helpful just in terms of what the grant selection committee is charged with and just kind of what the process is for that. Any questions?
Just on the, how about how you guys coming with your standard operating procedures?
So So that's still underway. So we'll have a draft of that. And to that point, and Pastor Robinson has said this before, it's really critical to document, so that it's something that can be handed off to someone else who is going to either be on the committee, chair the committee, et cetera. So that is underway, Pastor Robinson.
Thank you. Appreciate Takesha.
So standing in for Toy Lattimore, who is the chair of the Oversight Committee, but as Kimberly mentioned, both the Oversight and the Selection Committees are working very closely together. Both Dr. Lattimore and myself served on the Selection Committee, and then as part of the Oversight Committee, want to ensure that we are working with and really partnering with those grantees to ensure that their project at the base level is going to be completed on time, that they are serving who they said that they were going to serve, and then at a higher level, really looking at the outcomes that they documented in their grant application, holding them accountable for those, and doing a little bit more sort of review throughout the life of the grant cycle so that we have a better understanding of what is put into their final reports and even their midterm reports, because we were actually able to be a part of the process and see some of the grants administration piece. So that's sort of our role with oversight, and then our standing operating procedures are also underway. I think that we were looking to do some connections in the next week or so in order to be able to finalize those.
Okay, yeah, because I honestly don't see how we can do the grant selection committee and oversight committee separately. They go together. It's hand in glove. They really go together, and we're discovering it as we move along. And I think that that's going to be important for us to realize and leave a footprint that when we leave, there's someone else can step right in and keep going with it. Public relations, Ms. Rashida.
Good evening again. So the Public Relations Committee is a new committee, and currently what we're trying to work on is to get social media accounts established and to work on how we're going to keep our website updated. The goal is to get the community aware of what the LDC is doing, the progress that we're making, the opportunities. And so we're looking at ways to do that. We're currently working, we meaning Carrie Mack and Vice Chair Hopkins Navies are the committee members, along with myself. And we're working with Ryan and Nicole on trying to get guidance from the Prince George's County's legal department on what we can do, what guidance we need to have for publishing content and reaching out to the public. So I did send something up to Ryan and Nicole and just waiting for them to get back to me with a response from legal. As far as standard operating procedures, Nicole did send out a template for us to use, and I know we're going to go over the LDC standard operating procedures or tonight, but we are going to start working on trying to fill that in, roles and responsibilities and things of that nature. But this is a new committee, so we're starting from step one, ground up, and that's where we are.
So, the template, try to, I mean, I don't know that template will fit every department. So, kind of
Right.
to fit what it is you guys are doing specifically. So, that we're not just bound and think you got to stay right in those lines, kind of tweak it to.
Right. Oh, it definitely has to be tweaked. It's not a one size fit all. I think the LDC's operating procedures is a good example. I was looking at that the other day, as far as how to set out roles and responsibilities and so forth. But yep, everything will have to be tailored according to each committee.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kevin?
Good evening to everyone. The committee that I chair is the Needs Committee with Senator Obie Patterson and Ms. Lori Paylor. So we actually had a great meeting, myself and Senator Patterson a few weeks ago. And so if public relations is step one in their endeavors, we're step like 0. So we're getting things started and off the ground with this particular community. Thoughts during our session and talking about doing an actual survey to the community to determine what are the needs that the community is looking for, and looking at ways to get that particular survey out, as well as getting the information out about the LDC. We talked about newsletters. Obviously, the public relations team is already working on that, but obviously we do try to do like annual, quarterly newsletters, and putting those type of surveys and putting those types of questions out to the community to figure out what else they need that the LDC can provide in different areas, as well as highlighting the success of this particular committee as well. And so it was a great conversation. We'll be doing more over the next couple of weeks and months. And so looking forward to working more with Senator Patterson and Ms. Paylord to get things flowing. And then we'll get things going as well at the same time, which is a perfect time right now to get things going on that standard operating procedures. So we better write it at the same time. That will help as well.
Yeah, I think probably one of the quickest ways to reach those inside of the 3-mile radius is, tapping into churches. They could probably tell us a lot of what's going on and what the needs are in the congregations, and come up with some common ground that, something we can get started. I'm just really interested in finding out what our community needs from the people who live in the community, rather than these organizations coming in here with programs just telling us what they can give us. I think it's just very important for us to know what we need, advertise that as much as possible, and move towards that end.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that was part of the list. We had get a faith list, as well as the HOA, civic associations, even the Panhandle commissions as well. And so is get even to see if the county executive office has a list that we can get to, that we can send out a mailer or an email to folks as well.
Okay. And then last but not least, we have our legislative branch. That is Dr. Patterson. I see he's online. I keep calling him Dr. Patterson. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I'm just going to give him that name. I'm going to give him that title, Dr. Patterson. And the legislative branch, Ms. Swenson is here for Delegate Valderrama. And then we have Delegate Turner. If you guys have anything that you'd like to add and put on the table, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess the only thing is that we are at the point of pre-filing bills. I think maybe Monday was our drop dead date to pre-file legislation, but we can still do it, but filing it early would have guaranteed us the public hearing before committee. I don't know. I don't believe that we have looked at the minutes, that there was anything that jumped out to us that was taking place in the local development council that we may want to take to see if legislation might be helpful to sponsor. I think the biggest hurdle we had was that of the whole harmless, and we pretty well have taken care of that. And while there are some concerns about mileage, I think that rests with the county council and the county executive and the local development council and establish 3 miles versus 5 miles and that kind of thing. So the only other thing that may be a concern, I think, is that how and if we are going to get some of that monies that would have gone to the whole harmless group. I know the other areas, I did take a look at that, and they get quite a bit of monies from the table games. And again, this committee gets 0 from table games. We get all our monies from the slot machines.
Now, I reached out to Tara Jackson about that, and of course, we had some discussion about that the last time around, and she indicated, she called me back after doing some research. She indicated that we're getting 5% from the table. And I didn't know that. I don't, go ahead, I'm sorry.
We get those monies, but I think it's basically at the discretion of the county executive as to how those monies, where those monies will go once we get it. We get it, but they don't rest into the budget for the local development council. Those monies are put back into the county executive hands to use for other county projects.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
we-
my understanding. We may want to get a legal opinion on that if need be. Certainly, we could ask the county council attorney, or we could ask the legislative service folks in Annapolis to give us a specific readout about that. But I met with them a couple of times, and they told me that, yeah, that we've been getting some additional funds, but not to implement programs under the category of the local development council.
Okay, all right, Delegate Turner.
Yes, thank you. You know, y'all sent me a copy of the map, and I was going over the map to see about the 3 miles,
Okay.
4 miles.
Let me stop you right there. That's on the agenda.
What's on the agenda? Okay, I'll
Yeah,
talk.
I'm
Yeah.
just doing just the legislative branch right now, and what you guys want to lay on the table.
On the legislative branch.
Yeah, that's you.
Okay. Right now, yeah. Well, of course, you know what my pet peeve is. It's
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
it's
Yes, ma'am. So if you
that
could
3
just-
mile, that 3 mile race.
Yeah,
You
yes,
know,
ma'am.
I eat and sleep and sing that in my sleep.
So if you could just hold on for a minute, that's
I'll
all.
hold out. I will hold out.
Yeah,
But
because you know,
as the senator said to all of you wonderful people that's on this call, is that we're also waiting for you guys. You know, we're getting ready to go into special session, and you know, January is right around the corner. I mean, you know, any bills or anything that y'all wanted to discuss or want us to put in, it's not too late. As the senator said, it's not too late. It was a drop dead date, but it's not too late to put in anything that you think that is going to help the, you know, our committee here that we have. It's not too late for us to put it in for you. And we, between the 3 of us, we will work it and to get it passed.
Okay. All right, Miss Jamia, she's standing in for Delegate Valderrama.
Hi, are you saying me, Jamaya? I'm standing in for Diana. Down at Leon Brown.
You standing for, oh, Miss Brown.
Yes.
Pastor Robertson, Delegate Valderrama texted me earlier. She tried to have someone here representing her, but she was unable.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was Miss Swinton, but you're standing for Miss Brown. Okay. All right. Well, we can move to let me see what we've got next is the 3 mile radius. You know, Ryan kind of let us in to know and understand that we can do that ourselves. Ryan, is it possible for you to put that map up?
Yeah.
Okay, and looking at this 3 mile radius, I'm assuming that the red circle is our current radius. The green circle would be the 4 mile radius, and the blue circle would be the 5 mile radius. Now, Ryan, you know, of course, our boundary is the Potomac River. And I mean, if we're talking about a 3 mile radius, then of course, 1.5 miles would be from the center of that circle to the east. So we only have a mile and a half there. The green would be, the green is what, 4 miles, so that would be 2 miles. And the blue is what, 5, and that would be 2.5 miles. Now, I mean, to take Alexandria and Virginia and all of this stuff out of that equation and move this circle to the right to be a true 3 mile, 4 mile, and 5 mile, I think is what I would like to try to understand the possibility of doing that, which would probably take us out beyond or close to Pennsylvania Avenue and points south into Clinton and down Indian Head Highway just a little further. If we could possibly figure out a way to do that, because this of course the 3 mile radius is taking us into Alexandria, Virginia, and places like that. And of course, that's not. We have to figure out how to move this or stretch that additional mile and a half in the 3 mile circle to towards the east. And I'm just wondering how we would go about doing that. This is just still discussion. If anybody has any recommendations on how we can go about doing it, I'd love to hear it. But and when I looked at the map and I started thinking about that, we might have to do away with a radius, or I don't know how we would do that at this point. I've been playing with this afternoon and trying to get a figure of how we could stretch that, because what you're looking at right now from the heart of this map with the 3 mile radius, we're only dealing with a mile and a half, when it takes into consideration going east and taking out west Alexandria and the other side of the river. Anybody got any comments on that?
Pastor, one additional thing I did ask our tech folks about when it came to the map. You know, one of the benefits of having the census just happen is we have pretty accurate, at least, you know, as accurate as we're going to get, ideas of where our populations are in certain census tracts. So trying to figure out if there are certain tracts that, you know, where neighborhoods are more likely to be together and things of that sort. I'm trying to work with them, but the data hasn't already been analyzed enough yet for us to put a map like that together. Because unfortunately right now, the simple radius that we have is all we can go with for right now. But moving forward, what I'm also working on is trying to get a more sort of population controlled and more precise census tract map that could be the framework for what we have moving forward.
Okay,
but,
well, as you know, I can send you those numbers for of course for District 8 and District 9.
I get that, but I'm saying that there's additional analysis that needs to be done with the census data that hasn't been completed yet. It's still in process. So I'm waiting on that from our technology folks. But as soon as I get that, they'll be able to put the map together, and we'll be able to review that as the others.
Okay, well, I will let you deal with Delegate Turner on that, because I'm not messing with this little lady anymore. She sits on them phone books, but she carries a big stick. So I'm gonna get out between the two of you and let you talk with Delegate Turner on that. But I'm just joking. I'm having fun.
No, you're not joking, because when I looked at this map, okay, I was saying, oh my God, how many years it's been? Okay, now we're gonna have to do something with this, definitely. So yeah, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait.
I mean, Ryan is on top of this, as you can see. So
yeah.
We at least we've started the process, and this helps a great deal. So this won't happen overnight, but this helps a great deal. So I think that we can wait on Ryan's discoveries and kind of go from there from this point. But this is a good start. We have come to some discovery and going through this process. So we do know what we're looking for and what may happen with this and how that would happen. So I'm excited for the expansion of this thing and ultimately see just where it's going and those kind of things.
But Mr. Chair, could Ryan again, if he could give again his explanation of what is he looking for in terms of groups or populations of groups that exceed the 3 mile? I didn't quite. Ryan, would you run that by us again, please?
So the census identifies certain neighborhoods based on census tracts and zip codes and things of that sort. To be quite honest, I'm not an expert on this at all, but what I'm trying to do is trying to figure out exactly what the population trends look like in this general area within the 3 mile radius. And rather than having a simple, like as Pastor Robinson is explaining, the 3 miles extends in Alexandria. So rather than having a simple radius around the MGM casino, if we can identify the census tracts that are directly impacted by the activity occurring at the casino, then that may be a more accurate representation of the communities affected. And that gets to the entire purpose of the LDC in general, of, the LDC being able to provide guidance as to how VLT monies are used to benefit the neighborhoods and residents directly affected by MGM National Harbor. Right now, it's not really a scientific framework that we have when it comes to just having the radius there. But if we can identify the exact tracks that are directly impacted by MGM National Harbor, be it from traffic patterns to light pollution, things of that sort, then we might be able to more directly and scientifically apply funds to certain areas, because there may be a certain zip code or a census tract that's located 3.5 or 4 miles outside that's more affected than one that may be within 2.5 miles. I'm not exactly, I can't really say, but I just wanted to make sure that we explore that option too, rather than just saying make the radius bigger.
Yeah, there is a, as you know, most of you know, I served as the chair for the redistricting commission, and Dr. Pursley had a software package that, excuse me, when you can get it all the way down to what he calls blocks, and I think it's what you're talking about, Ryan, where you can actually determine the number of people that are in a specific block. You can get down to those kind of details. Then there was also somebody put out a map first, a software package very similar to his. And I'll see if I can't dig that up and send it to you, because it does pretty much what you're talking about. The only other thing that you need is the census numbers. And the numbers that we got were per district, and it's not broken down in blocks. But for instance, when you talk about District 9, that's all the way down in Accokeek, wraps around up towards Joint Base Andrews, along with District 8 wrapping around to the west side and up towards Andrews. So you can get down, I don't know if this particular software package does it, it's a pre-software package, and you can get down to that kind of detail. So I'll try to dig it up and send it to you. Might help a little bit in what you're attempting to do. So I'll try to find that and send it to you.
I'll be on the lookout for it.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I was just gonna say, I am really excited about the potential here to expand our impact area. I think it's gonna be that much, it'll be that much more in terms of resources that we can provide, et cetera. I guess two things that come to mind. I think the social media piece is going to be big in terms of, for Rashida and her committee, in terms of marketing and that sort of thing, if we are able to expand. And then certainly, Kevin, for your committee as it relates to needs assessment, I'm wondering, will we ultimately need to expand the needs assessment? I mean, I can't imagine a couple mile difference and there's a whole nother need that we're not thinking about. I'm sure it's all, kind of relatively the same, but that might just be something you want to think about. And then just one final question for Ryan, and maybe you said this, but just curious about the timeline for when we can make something like this happen, as we will be, before we know it, into next year and thinking about the new grant cycle. So wondering if this will be something that we could potentially have in place for the next year's grant cycle with an expanded radius.
We would need to make the change before, obviously before applications go out. Speaking of which, yesterday, the county council approved the resolution for the multi-year spending plan. So we're currently working on getting the application to be totally online through a portal. So as soon as that is done, and it is almost finished, we could announce the application as soon as, as soon as it's finished. But we would need to make this change when it comes to the impact area before that goes out.
Okay, and are you thinking like it'll go out before the end of this calendar year, or do you
Oh,
think?
absolutely. Yeah, I would prefer it go out at the start of next month.
So is it realistic then for us to make this kind of a change to the impact area ahead of that?
That's not my call. That's your guys' call.
Well, I mean, if we can get it done, I mean, the issue, Ryan, I think is, for you doing, making the discoveries that you need to make based upon what you've already said. If we can get it done, I mean, at the same time, I am not interested in rushing things to the point that we are jamming anything into a tight space. We have just started this process. We're all just coming together. I'd love to see us have everything in place like right now. But that's just not something that's going to happen. None of these things were in place when we started this process, from the change which started in February. So, it's I think we're making good progress. It's just that if we can't, I don't think we should put ourselves on an unrealistic deadline. And if it doesn't happen until next year, I think we're making progress towards that end. And I think we need to keep that in mind as we move on. Anybody else got an opinion on that?
So I agree with you with that wholeheartedly. I think we can continue to move forward with it holistically, right? And then when the time comes for us to formalize it, we'll formalize it, but not putting it under a strict deadline prior to this application. I don't think we need to force ourselves to do that. So I do agree with you and as well as Kimberly and everyone else on that note. So I think that makes sense.
I think that's a bit more stress than we want to put ourselves on. I also talked with Councilmember Turner and the Chairman Hawkins on the concerns of the whole multi-year spending plan and the timing process. I honestly think we should get it before they do. And we've been talking about that and trying to come up with a way that we can switch this thing around and give us enough time, and we're not rushing the way we've done in the last couple of years. So I need to get back with both of them on that to sit down. And Ryan, I'll talk with you to bring you in on that. I've just been kind of talking to the two of them. I saw Councilman Turner at a function, and we had some discussion about that. He had some issues and concerns about that when he was the chair. And it seems that those concerns have also been passed on to the Chairman Hawkins. So we will be talking about that and trying to speed this process up. But I honestly just think we need to get it before they do. It's coming from the county exec's office. I think it needs to come to us, and then from us to them, because we only have, what is it, Brian, 30 days after we, was it 30 or 45 days? I can't remember. once we get it.
It's 45.
45 days, yeah. So if we got it first, I think that that would help us a great deal. So we just need to kind of look at that, and I'll be talking to you further about that, Ryan, so we can go from there. Anybody else with any input? Okay, so we're moving on to want to talk about the LDC operating procedure, and inside of that, it has the term limits. I sent this out to everybody today. Did everybody get a copy of the operating procedure? Did you have a chance to look at it? One of the places that I want to concentrate is section B, how the funds are spent. That's on page 2. And it kind of reads as follows. Did everybody get that? Can I see a show of hand? Everybody get that? Okay, did you have a chance to look at it?
Yes.
Okay, on page 2, how the funds can be spent. Local impact grants provide under subsection A of this section shall be used for improvements in the communities in immediate proximity to the video library facilities and may be used for the following purposes. Infrastructure improvements. Of course, we know that there has been money going to the 210 project. Facilities, public safety, we know that money is going to both the police and fire departments. Economic and community development, including housing and other public services and improvements. Now, number 5, Ryan, I have a question here. We are picking up a little over, I think it was $800,000 this year for grants. Let me look at that real quick. I think it was 800. Was it 800,000? 900. What?
850,000.
850,000 for community grants. My question is, can we take a portion of that money and do number 5, economic and community development, including housing? I mean, I'd love to see us be able to, at random, pick all the houses within the radius, whatever that's going to be. Pick all the houses in the radius to perhaps replace gutters, downspouts, and shutters. I mean, those things can really make a difference in how a property looks. I mean, if we moved around and shows several properties, 10 properties, 15, 20 properties, I don't know how many, it would depend on how much we are willing to take out of this $800,000 for that purpose and do some immediate impact. Now, I'm just thinking off the cuff, do some immediate impact on choosing some houses. Now, the other side of that is, do we need a nonprofit to do that? I found a nonprofit that was doing something very similar to this in the Suitland area. I talked to them, and we were talking maybe $100,000. So they said that wouldn't be enough money for them to even get the program off the ground. But we're looking at $850,000 for all 3 years of the multi-year spending plan. And I'm wondering why we can't take 400,000 of that for this kind of project to impact housing in the community and use $400,000 for grants. So I'm just throwing that out there. I just need, if you looked at this, I'm asking you to take a close look at it. That was my mindset when I first looked at it. And this whole operating procedure has to be understood by all of us. I don't know how many of you have had an opportunity to have this before now, but I'm asking you to spend some time in this so that we can get closer to what our purpose is, what we should be doing, and how we should be doing it. Because I think we need to. I'm not struggling with just giving all this to grants, but in the past we know that this money, in some cases, hadn't been spent properly, and we want to just get a hold on that. Of course, the whole oversight committee is doing a great job with that. But I'm just wondering, Ryan, if we can't take some of the monies that we're getting for this from the spending plan to utilize for doing something like that to impact economic and community development, including housing. And I think in one other place I saw improvements in, with flowers and stuff like that. But I kind of just think that's, not unless you're dealing with perennials and things like that. I think that's a waste of money to put a lot of money in the annuals. Anybody with
Oh, Pastor, the 850 is not for 3 years, it's for each year. So the LDC has $850 to allocate during this cycle.
Okay, during this cycle. Okay.
This cycle.
Yeah, so, okay.
And that's a product of the hold harmless provision being repealed.
Is it?
Additionally, yeah, if you wanted to approach a nonprofit who does the kind of community building work and encourage them to apply to receive an LDC grant, that's absolutely, that's something we would absolutely encourage. But as it relates to just giving money away outside of the grant process, this 850 for this year is already allocated to the grant process.
Mhm.
So it by definition has to go through the grant process prior to being allocated to anyone.
Okay.
Now in next year or the year after, if the LDC would like to pick a cause outside of the grant process and lower, like say for the sake of argument, the 850 by 400 grand, and have that 400 grand placed into the multi-year spending plan to go directly to another cause, then that's something that can be discussed, but that will have to happen during the multi-year spending plan review period. And that's probably something we'd have to get started on now, because you're not gonna find a developer during the 45-day review period who's going to be able to sign on to get the work done and then approach the county executive and say, we have an idea for community development, let's fund 400 grand here. So if there's a project or a cause that the LDC would like to champion outside of the grant process, by all means it can do so by advising the county executive's office about that effort ahead of the multi-year spending plan review process, or it can approach different nonprofits who do this kind of work and encourage them to apply for the LDC grant, and that money can be allocated in that way.
Okay, now, would it be limited to the max of $50,000? Because if we can find a company that's a nonprofit
Mhm.
that can do this kind of work, would it be limited to the $50,000 over? I mean, assuming we picked out 20 houses, that's going to be $250,000 in replacing gutters, downspouts, and those kind of things. Are we limited to just the $50,000?
Yes, as it exists now.
As it exists. Okay, so I mean, again, that's another thing that we're going to have to do, because if we're going to get to this kind of thing, dealing with facilities, sanitation, and these other things, if we're going to get to this, I don't see it being worth a company's, a nonprofit's worth to try to do that kind of work and limit them to maybe, I mean, there's some profit in it that they're going to make, but at the same time, I'm just trying to figure these things out. I just want us to really be thinking about ways that we can do this, that we can truly impact community besides people coming in here telling us what they want to give us. That's go ahead, Mr.
I was just wondering, Mr. Chair and members, if we
Can't
might.
hear you.
Hey, hey,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had your hand over your mouth,
All right. I was just wondering if we could take a little different approach here. I like the concept. I'm not sure I totally personally would thrive into the $800,000. I think we've moved this project far enough along the way, and I think our track record is such that at a minimum, perhaps if it's 400,000 we're looking for, we may want to earmark 200,000 from the local development and ask the council to match those funds in the other 250,000, and then ask Delegate Turner and Obie Patterson and other state folks. We get monies for capital projects all the time that to go into those projects. Maybe we need somebody to put together a overall proposal of what we might need and how we might go about locating the monies, because I could think of 2 or 3 pots that probably we could leverage monies for these type of projects. I just think I would hate to see us shortchange ourselves of the monies that we have already at hand to help in the community, and use 50% of it to go toward housing. Not that housing isn't greatly needed, I agree 100%. But I think at some point, I think the county has to take some responsibility in helping us to do some of those things, because I contend that we still shortchange when it comes to money that's outlined in the bill, in the legislation, to come to the local development council. So I think we ought to make that a part of our request. Maybe that 200,000 could be our new request for next year, in addition to the 800,000. But I would like to see us take away from what we got.
Yeah, look, I'm not, this is what happens when you put ideas on the table. We get to build on them and those kind of things. I just, I'm, after reading this standard operating procedure, when I got to that point, I just wanted to throw this on the table. That's why, I put it out there and ask everybody to read it and give me what your ideas are. So, this is how things get developed,
Okay.
Everybody's got an idea. We can build on it and make it better than the first idea, the second idea, the third idea, and we all come together and make this thing work. So I'm already excited about what your recommendation is. So we need to really look at this and see how we can do this. I thought about matching funds at one point in time, maybe going to Heckinger's not Heckinger's, wow. Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that, and ask them to kick into what we're trying to do. I dated myself on that one, didn't Heckinger's. God. Most of y'all too young to even remember Heckinger's, huh?
Got that right.
No, I remember.
I remember.
Oh my goodness.
I'm too young to remember.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. All right. So well, Senator Patterson, I will talk to you a bit more about that as I
Okay.
Say it again.
Excellent idea. That's the thing that would probably put us on the map a little bit.
Yeah. So it's just the idea in reading this procedure. The other one that on page 4, it talks about the term limits, and I want to talk about it. As you know, we got caught in an ugly situation where we lost 5 people all at the same time, and then right after that, we lost. Oh my goodness, we lost. Somebody help me, please.
Staff person.
Aka.
Yeah, we lost Shaka, and it just devastated us. It threw everything in a tailspin, and I'm glad Nicole is here, and I've been trying to get her to exercise her rights and privileges in the role that she's playing, and she's doing a great job of that. But we need to bring on slowly, and I deeply appreciate what she's doing. Kind of talk to her during the course of the day, and kind of go from there. And she's stepping up. She'll be where we can really appreciate her at some point in time, and that's what we're looking for. But when you come with these term limits on page 4, did you have a chance to read that? Members are appointed by to the local development council by the county exec and serve at the pledge of the county exec for 1-year terms, renewable in 3 up to 3 times for a total of 4 years. Now, that's number 1. The person, of course, this doesn't have anything to do with the legislative branch, but for us who have been appointed and volunteered for these positions, we 1-year terms and can go up to 4 years, and after that, we leave the table. Now, when it comes to those kinds of terms, I've talked to Ms. Brewer, and what I need to do now is get the dates that everybody came on. My major concern right now is Miss Kimberly. I would hate, how long have you been with us, Kimberly?
I think it was the January maybe of 2019. It was either 2018 or 2019.
Okay, so we've got at least a couple more years, right?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like it's a 3-year term, but can be renewed once or something like that.
No,
Because I think I asked.
It's 4 years.
Shaka. It's 4 years. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. According to this, is 4 years. 1-year terms renewable up to 3 times for a total of 4 years. Is what
Got
it
it.
said.
Okay. So yeah, it was either 18 or 19. I'll confirm.
Yeah, so I'm just concerned that we stagger in a way that we don't have what happened to us last year. 5 major people all walked out the door at the same time. And it just created all sorts of problems, all sorts of anxiety for me. And, having been asked to chair this, and I just have a concern about that. It also goes on to talk about unexcused absences and those kind of things. I don't think we really need to get into that. But I want you to be familiar. I sent it out to you because I want you to be familiar with it. It's important that we understand what our roles are and to be familiar with what is expected of us as a local development council, because we fell into a hole in February. We just fell flat into a hole with 5 people all gone at the same time, and with Shaka gone. So we just didn't have it. Ryan was asked to do some other things. So we were just kind of in a tailspin. And so we're stable, but I just want us to be able to lead. When we step out of these positions, I want people to be able to step into these positions and keep this thing going and be a benefit to the community, to the county, to our county exec, and that kind of thing. But those are the things that I have for this evening. Ms. Chair, Vice Chair, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, the one thing that I did want to comment on was actually the development of the community and being able to reach out to nonprofits. There are a number of them out there, and $50,000 for them would mean a lot. They're always looking for places. One that comes to mind for me is Christmas in April. They're always looking for different homes that they can go into and make a difference. So that might be one of the nonprofits that we reach out to. I have a personal relationship with them and that we help to support their projects. So that might be the way that we go until we can get a substantial amount of money that we can really go in and make a difference using Obie Patterson's suggestions of reaching out to other organizations within our county that has a responsibility to the community as well.
Okay, anybody else?
I have a quick question for Ryan. Ryan, would you not have a legend that established the appointment dates of each member that comes on the council?
I think that would come from Ms. Brewer.
Can you ask that question again?
My question to you, would not that information be someplace in the county that would establish the date of appointments for each member of the local development council?
Yeah, we have that information.
Could you assemble that and put them in a binder for the council for our disposal, so we have it all the time, knowing what's coming up in terms of vacancies?
I don't have that at my disposal right now, but I'll get that for you, and I'll send that tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that's great. Anyone else?
So, Chair, so quick question. So I know Ryan mentioned during his talk a few minutes ago about the application process for the grants being all online, so be no paper. So will that actually help more grants be submitted correctly so that we're not, so they're not being kicked back, so they won't be missing anything, or is that more training that needs to be had? Like, I'm wondering what does that look like?
We still plan on holding a seminar to walk people through the process, especially with the new application. However, to your point, we're being very meticulous, and someone will have to mess up on purpose to submit the wrong information, because with each form that we're requesting, we're including a link to a sample version of the form. So if your form does not look like the sample version of the form that is right there on the screen in front of you, I was already unforgiving in previous years, but there should be no going back and being like, oh, this person just made a simple mistake. I'm like, no, you did it on purpose, and you tried to test the system if you messed this one up. So
or the system tested you.
right. So community partnerships is currently going through this portal. Right now, we're using the same system, and Kanika and OMB has been raving about it, and it's made the process way more simpler. You know exactly like what time, down to the second that a form was submitted. We know exactly everything will be submitted in a uniform file format, so there shouldn't be any issues with, you know, this form was submitted, but it wasn't in the correct format, so the reviewers can't actually open it. All of that will be remedied with this new portal. So we're trying to make it as black and white as possible, so there's no room for error here.
Roger.
Unless you intend to commit the error.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that, Ryan. I think that'd be helpful. And I think that will help a lot of these nonprofits not to be scared to submit grants, because I know a lot of folks are scared to submit it because they're not sure how to do the paperwork correctly. So I think this will help them a lot.
Well, you know, each year we have a workshop. And, you know, we encourage everybody to come to the workshop. Last year we had, I think we had 60, 70 people in the workshop. And by the time we started making it clear that the process would be vetted with an oversight committee and those kind of things, the pressure of an oversight committee, by the time we finished, Kevin, we were down to only 14, 15 people who applied for the money. I mean, we just need to make people know this is not a giveaway. You know, and I think some people have thought that to be the case with some of this money, but this is not a giveaway. We are very serious about how this money is being spent, and we've already referred, as you already know, several people to the audits and investigations. So we made that threat real clear, and so you know, some people dropped off because of that. It wasn't for fear of filling out the form. It's just what they thought was some easy money. And that's a different day here, you know. So we are excited about the direction we're moving in, and trust that as we take the time to develop all of this, we will all be able to sleep easy, knowing that we have done a great job with this and left a platform for whoever comes behind us, you know, to take the baton and keep running with it, you know, go from there. So with that, Ryan, do we have any public comment? Now, anybody else, Takesha, Carrie, anybody else? Okay, do we have any public comment, Ryan?
None that I can see.
Okay, Ms. Hurt, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing at this time, Pastor Robinson. Thank you for having us as always.
Look, we're just glad that you're hanging out with us, and always trust that something we say or do will have a positive impact. Ms. Evans? Okay, and then we have somebody on the phone with the 3 numbers ending in 951. Would you like to share with us for a second? All right. To get out of here quickly tonight, we will take a motion from Senator Patterson and a second from Veronica Turner and a vote.
That the local development council meeting be adjourned until our next regular meeting time.
Delegate Turner.
I second the emotion.
All in favor? I love you guys. I'm telling you, I appreciate you guys so much. Have a good evening. Ryan, thank you for.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Have a great
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
everybody.
for everybody.
Yes, I'm coming to everyone's house. I'm getting a plate from everybody's house.
Come
So you
on,
fixing dinner,
I'm
man?
going to Kansas City. So-
I'll be in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it, man.
I'll be at home.
Thank you, sir.
All right, see you guys later. Keisha, have a good one.
Peace.
Rashida, have a good one. Carrie.
Thank you, y'all too.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yes.
Same to y'all.
Thank you, everyone.